Yo, what is up guys, it's Tyrannic Swine here, and you're probably wondering why I'm redoing a game that I did like over a year ago, which is Black Ops 3. Mainly it's because someone originally was not happy with the original score I gave for Black Ops 3, and they basically annoyed me to the point where I should do it again. Now, I was content in not doing it at all, but after a year I finally decided to do it, just so I could shut them the hell up. But after replaying this game a bit, I did realize that maybe my score, my original score, was in fact wrong. So yeah, I'm going to redo Black Ops 3 and see where it goes. So let's get on with the review. Now let's begin with the campaign. Now campaigns in recent Call of Duty games these days have been going downhill. They don't seem to be really adding in much character development whatsoever, and just basically using Michael Bay sort of scenes just to get you excited. And it makes me feel sorry that Call of Duty has lost its storytelling edge, and Black Ops 3 is no exception. In fact, Black Ops 3's campaign, of all of the Call of Duties I've ever played, is probably the worst. Hell, I would even play Call of Duty Ghosts campaign again. This campaign was ridiculous. I mean, the story apparently is like an AI uprising of some sort. It's like, yes, we haven't seen that like millions of times already. It just made me feel like this was a sort of a rise, like a sort of a Terminator ripoff in some ways. But campaign, it wasn't just the story that was god awful. It was also the characters. The characters just had no meaning for them to exist. I mean, most of the time they hated each other and always disagreed most of the time. They always went up against each other's backs, and then eventually you get betrayed by one of your teammates. But really, you don't really give a shit, because it's like, this guy was an asshole anyway. None of the characters in this game are even worth remembering. Not a single one. Hell, even Ghosts in Advanced Warfare, I was at least able to remember some of the characters in that. In this, it's just like, why? Why do they exist? It's like, you just don't want them. It's like, they could have had freaking characters from other Call of Duty games that would have been so much better and so much fun to have to play around with. Yeah. The story, the level design, God. Despite this game has forward-player co-op, you'd think the game will be, the level design would be bigger. No, it's actually probably just as linear as all the other Call of Duties, if not even smaller. Black Ops 3 really does not suit the 4-player co-op feature, even though it could have been more useful in other Call of Duty games, honestly. There is, like, you also, but other than that, you do have powers that you can use, but even then, these feel like rip-offs of powers from other games. Like, example, there's this Bee Swarm sort of power, which reminds me of Bioshock, and then a few other powers that disable the, like, drones and stuff like that, Incinerate, I think. There is a lot of powers in this game that just feel like they were ripped off from other games, and it kind of does suck in some case. And not only that, there's the fact that there is some other things. There's like probably one good thing about the campaign is the fact that you can create and use your own weapons before going into a mission. That's probably the only thing that is good about the campaign. Hell, you can even customize your character, but even then, the customization is lousy. Well, not lousy, it's lazy as hell. There's very few options to choose from, and it just looks like generic crap that you've seen in probably a crap ton of other games. So yeah, the campaign really could have been done a lot better. Hell, it could have been done a lot better. Now there is a few other things still to talk about. There's, in the campaign, there's the weapons themselves. The weapons, honestly, I'm going to the point now where the weapons all just feel like the same generic kind of guns. They don't feel different in any way, and they just don't feel fun to play around with anymore. I feel like either Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 2 had the last decent weapons. Ghost weapons were okay, but that was the beginning of the downfall for the weapons for me. But yeah, you can do, like, put attachments on. You can have grenades of sorts, tactical grenades like flashbangs, incineration grenades, You can even have, yeah, a different assortment of powers. You can have more than one. And they each are different, but like I said, they feel ripped off from other games. Another thing about the campaign is that it, unlike all the other Call of Duty games where, well, Call of Duty games usually last around probably 8 to 9 hours at most, I think. Black Ops 3 decides to take it a little bit further, probably by lasting about probably 10 or 11 hours. And hell, I think that is way too long because this game is boring as hell. The story just drags on, and so do the missions themselves, especially the last mission where you have to go through we basically have to fight to a facility, go through the facility, basically connect to the computer network, go through 3 different, like, sections, and then you pretty much end it. I mean, the last mission is far too long and boring just to drag on. I had to drag myself through this game twice, and it pretty much killed my mind. Like I was having a headache at the end of this game because of how boring and crappy it was. I'm just sorry, it just was not interesting any way or form. Hell, I thought, excuse me, I thought there would be at least some references to the previous Black Ops games. There's only like probably two references, which is a reference to Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, which is Raul Menendez, and that was literally it. And then there's one from Black Ops, which is another 6 gas thing. But I felt like that was dragged in at the last moment as some sort of plot twist that was god awful. So, yeah, I mean, there's even like a sort of a training simulator as well in the in between the mission section in the campaign. But honestly, I really did not give much of a crap about that. So yeah, honestly, overall, like I've said, the campaign could have been done far better. I mean, even the enemies themselves, I mean, once again, you're fighting enemies that are very similar to Advanced Warfare, humans and robots. And hell, and these enemies just don't feel decent at all. I mean, there's drones and a few other things to fight against, but not really anything that's groundbreaking. So, let's talk about the zombie mode, which is usually the saving grace of these Call of Duty games. Well, kinda. But this time, even the zombie mode could not save this game, because this time I feel like it's gone way too far. It's gone way too far off of the track it started off with, which is from a simple survive against multiple waves of zombies, and then it started getting more and more complex in each Call of Duty game. In Black Ops, it got a little bit more complex, but still stayed in the same formula. Black Ops 2, I think, was the final one that felt appreciative. Yes, there was like, was complex, but I really liked how it was all like open and everything. But this one, I feel like is just strayed too damn far. It's like there's too much crap to do in it to know what's going on. You have to do so much just so you could get the actual like an ending to the game mode. That's the thing. It's just, the zombie game mode has been taken way too far with creating its own story, so it can be interesting. We don't need a story for a game mode to be interesting. All we want to do is play a game mode and fight against zombies. We don't need to add in a bunch of monsters and tentacle crap everywhere, since this game mode is just tentacle shit everywhere. That's what it's making me feel like. It's starting to turn into some weird freaking shit. That's basically what it is. It's weird shit is what this is. It's like, hell, there's even like sort of ancient artifacts and stuff like that. This zombie mode was getting way too out of hand, and it's like they're delving too far into the story to make it stupid and complex, and no one will really understand it unless you actually play like all of the game or watch walkthroughs of it. But let's see. I mean, again, let's get back into the other aspects. There is, you have, as usual, 2 guns to pick from, and then you can upgrade these over time or find a gun in the mystery box. And there is a few new additions, which is the gumball machine, where you can get like a sort of an extra ability, which will help out against the zombies, which I think is a very interesting mechanic and forward's done pretty well. And then there's the fact that there's these vials or something that will give you other special gumballs, but then there's the fact that they can be microtransactions as well. So yeah, even this game has microtransactions in it, but nonetheless, there is also... There was something else. Oh yes, there is a little sort of purple vial, not vial, but some sort of fountain looking thing that you can change into a monster, which will help you kill a bunch of enemies if you're lucky. And then there's this thing called the Fumigator, which allows you to sort of explode these little plant things on the floor, which will either give you like a hidden weapon, a power-up, or something, or it'll just throw a grenade in your face or an extra enemy. So yeah, they can be quite random, which at least is something decent. It's like it's not going to be the same thing every time. But nonetheless, those few things aren't really enough to help save the zombie mode, because really it's just out of hand. I could not take the zombie modes seriously, unlike the other zombie modes. Hell, even I didn't really even play Advanced Warfare because that's hidden behind a paywall, so probably won't be expecting me to say anything about that when I get to that game. But nonetheless, the zombie game mode in this game is just downright bad. It just was not fun to play anymore. Now, there is technically another campaign in this game. This game has a second campaign, which basically combines the zombies and the main campaign. Now, of course, and it's called Nightmare Mode, or campaign, whatever. But honestly, the surprising fact is that this is probably one of the few redeeming features of the game, because honestly, this game, this campaign had a better story than the main campaign story. And you know you've messed up when your second campaign has a much better story than the first campaign. But really, it wasn't much of an improvement, but it was sort of interesting. Nonetheless, this game mode was actually pretty fun, playing through the campaign missions against zombies. But the thing is, you can only have one weapon at a time, and I thought that was a bit of a stupid thing. I would have at least liked to have had 2 weapons in my arsenal, but nonetheless, it's like you're just fighting against a bunch of zombies towards an objective, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a few sort of power-ups along the way, but really there's nothing else to say about this game mode other than the fact that you're just fighting the zombies through the campaign missions. There is one more thing. The mystery box in this game was a little bit different. It's actually infinite, is the mystery box. The annoying thing is that anyone can take the gun from it. So if if someone's at a mystery box and you get a decent weapon, but then someone steals it, yeah, you can't get that back. Then you have to basically find another one. So yeah, there's really not much to talk about the Nightmare campaign, because that's really just the most of it. I mean, it's sort of complex in some ways, so it's really hard to explain. But honestly, I had more fun playing this than I did with the main campaign. And finally, we have the multiplayer, which is probably the part of the game all of you guys have been looking forward to, because this is basically what Call of Duty focuses on these days instead of the campaign, which it should do. Now, originally when I first played the multiplayer, I said this in my first review that I thought it was pretty fun and was bringing back the good old days. Playing it again, I was severely wrong. It is just the same load of crap that I've played before since Ghosts and Advanced Warfare. It doesn't particularly feel all that fun. I played a few matches and then it just got bored of it pretty damn quickly. The only interesting thing probably about the multiplayer is the fact that there is different characters to choose from that each have different abilities. That's really the only interesting thing about the multiplayer. Everything else is just merely just there. Yes, you have your weapon classes to choose from and to change and everything. And then the map designs are just the same as they always are. Basically buildings and stuff everywhere, and then there's those little area bits where you can jump around and flank your enemies. Nothing special really, and so yeah, there's just the only good thing or interesting about the multiplayer is the different characters that you can choose from that have different abilities. That's all that there is. Everything else is just meh. It's boring. The multiplayer is boring. I mean, I've had way more fun in other games like yeah, this is quite like Gears of War and Doom, hell, and those are much more difficult to play. But I've had way more fun in those games compared to this. I mean, the last fun Call of Duty game, multiplayer-wise, in my case, is Black Ops 2, and I honestly thought this game might be able to bring that back a little bit. It did not. So I felt like what I originally said about the multiplayer was probably wrong, where I said it's like it actually was bringing back the old way, like I had the old feeling, but no, after playing this multiplayer again for a bit, it really did not. So, yeah, overall, Black Ops 3 is a fairly terrible game. It's possibly the worst Call of Duty I've played so far. I mean, technically this is only going to be, what, the second or first Call of Duty game I've reviewed on this channel, but trust me, there'll be more in the future. But honestly, out of all the Call of Duties, Black Ops 3 was downright terrible, and it did not fulfill me whatsoever. So, overall, I'm going to give Black Ops 3 3 out of 10. So, that is my re-review of Black Ops 3. Now it only escapes a lower score, mainly because there was at least a few interesting things, like the Nightmare campaign, the different sort of characters they can choose from in the multiplayer. But really, that's all that there is. I mean, Black Ops 3 could have been done far better, but it shows that Call of Duty really needs a change, and there's a reason why I haven't even bought Infinite Warfare, because I'm not even bothered about Call of Duty anymore. Black Ops 3 was the last straw in my case, and I probably will never buy another Call of Duty game again. Probably never, even if they do change their ways. This game franchise is practically dead for me, so hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think is right or wrong with the game. You can see there's going to be a lot of backlash with this one, and I shall see you guys in the next random video.